Hello there and welcome back to this Flutter course where today we're going to be continuing Unit 4. And here we're going over the reactive framework. And today we're going to have a look at Stateless Widget and what Stateless Widget actually means and, how that works. So without further ado, let's get right into this. All right, so here we are. In our code, this is where we left off previously. I have my emulator open on the left here. Okay, so what we're going to be trying to do today is creating a very simple thing where we're going to have a button. And when we click that button, we're going to go ahead and change the text of the button. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. So to do this, first of all, what we're going to need to understand is that right here where we have the material app, essentially we just need this to return a widget. So what we can totally do is just do something like this. Class my app extends stateless widget. There we go. And you're going to see here that now we need to go ahead and create the build method because this is a widget and every widget needs to have a build method which will return its own widget, which in turn will return its own widget, and that's sort of like that's going to create a tree of widgets. And yeah, so now that we have this build method, we can just go ahead and take this material app here and just move that down into this build method. So we're just going to return this material app and keep everything else the same. And then here we can just do my app. There we go. Simple as that. So let's save that. That's gonna perform a. That's not gonna. Let's restart it. Let's do a hard restart. We actually got an error here. Where's the error? Oh right, we forgot the. We forgot the semicolon there. All right, now let's restart. All right, and there we go. So you can see it's going to give us the exact same thing, except now our code just looks a little bit cleaner. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's create a button here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a raised button. So var button equals raised button. There we go. And the child of this button is just going to be some text. 1. There we go. And now here, instead of this child text in the center here, we're going to replace that with this button right here. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's perform the hot reload. There we go. You can see now that we have this button here. Now it doesn't do anything when we press on it. Let's actually change this text. Yeah, let's keep it at 1. Why not? So yeah, okay, great. So we got this button. It doesn't do anything when we click on it. To do something, we need to do on pressed and then pass in. We can just pass in a lambda function here. And something like, let's just do print and then 1 for now, just to demonstrate that it does actually work. And there we go. You can see now that it sort of animates, and it also prints 1 when we do go ahead and click it. So right now it's actually, the thread is blocked, so it's not going to allow us to print 1. But if we do, yeah, you can see that if we do it a couple times, it will go ahead and allow us to do it again. It blocks the thread though eventually because it needs to do other stuff, so it won't always print like that. But yeah, you get the idea here. That's what's going on. Okay. So we have this raised button, right? And now what we need to do is that essentially every time we click on this button, we want to update the text. So how could we do this? So we do have this on print, right? So we just need some way to set the text of this button to something else, right? So how could we do this? So I'd say that the simplest way, and by the way, we're not going to be able to do it in this lesson just because this is a stateless widget, so we can't do it. But we're going to try either way, just because through this method of trial and error, you're going to see the difference essentially between a stateless widget and a stateful widget, hopefully at least. So we're going to have a var button class here, and then we're going to have a set button, I don't know, maybe set button text. Why not? Here, and then we're just going to do button dot, I don't know, child, right? Equals, and then here we can just do text, and this won't work, by the way. Let's say 2 here, okay? And then we're going to pass in this set, and then we're going to pass in this set button text into the on pressed here. All right, there we go. So in theory, what should happen is when we click on this set button text, it's going to set the child of this button to this new text 2. So and it should update this, and now it should say 2. So let's restart, I mean. All right, there we go. And now let's click on it, and you're going to see we're going to get an error. There we go. You can see we get an error. So the error is that we can't actually call a child is actually, it doesn't have a setter. So we can't set it, we can't edit it, we can only read it. I'm pretty sure we can read it. Can we read it? I'm pretty sure we can. Button.child. Whoops. All right, there we go. I just want to see. I'm pretty sure you can though. Like maybe 97%. Oh no, we can't actually, can we? Oh no, that's not the problem. Yes, that's not the problem. We have a var button here. We need to remove that var button. We can. I'm sure we can. There we go. You can see now that it does actually work, yeah. But we had that var button here. So what's happening is since we have a var button, it just created a different button and it didn't actually call that button. And that yeah, but you get the idea there. That's actually what's going on there. Okay, so the whole idea there, that's why it doesn't work. So we can't call a setter on button.child. We can only get it. Okay. So I mean, what else can we do? Let's try something different. Let's do something like a string. I don't know, maybe button text txt button text equals I don't know, 1. Why not? Okay, and then here we'll just do button text equals, and let's just say 2. All right, and we're going to set the button text at 2 here. All right, and here we're going to do button equals new raised button. Instead of that, we're going to do, instead of text here, we're going to do text and button txt right there, like that. Okay, there we go. And then here, all we can just do is do button text equals 2, and then also we'll just do something like, well, let's just refresh the button, right? So we'll just refresh the button, and that's gonna, that's gonna change it. All right. Okay, so let's try to do that. Let's perform the hot reload. Let's refresh this. Let's restart this, and let's press on this 1. And for some reason, it doesn't actually update it, does it? So you can see that it still stays 1. So even though we set the button text to 2, and we did set the child to button text, it still doesn't work. That is, of course, because we have a stateless widget. We don't have a stateful widget. And if you actually see here with the warning that it gives us, is that this class, this class inherits from a class marked as @immutable, and therefore should be immutable. All instance fields must be final. And so that's essentially what our problem is. So this class is immutable, so it won't let us change anything after it was actually built. So essentially, it's giving us that everything should be final, and that is a good practice. We should mark in a stateless widget, we should make everything final. So let's make the string final, and let's make the button final as well. That way, since everything is final, and we don't need a bar here if we have final, yeah. Since everything is final, it doesn't actually allow us to have these problems where maybe we are trying to update something in the stateless widget and we're racking our brains as to why it's not updating, and we just forgot that it's a stateless widget. So if we conform to this sort of practice where in a stateless widget we mark everything final, then it won't allow us to create these mistakes essentially. And so now you can see that it's giving us this problem because button and button txt are both final, and so we can't actually do anything with them. So we're going to have to remove this, and then we're also going to have to remove the onPressed here as well, since we no longer have that method. And then we also have to put this button, the button definition, up here. There we go, and that's the only way. And let's put this under this right here. There we go. Right, we also have to make this static since we can't actually refer to it otherwise. Or wait, no, yeah, we have to put it before final. There we go. Okay, and so now you're going to see that if we do go ahead and refresh this or restart it, we're back to the 1, and since we no longer have onPressed, that's essentially, yeah. So yeah, it is a good, most definitely a good practice, just good practice to go ahead and put, to make everything final in a stateless widget, because a stateless widget can't actually be updated. And at this point, you may be telling me, or maybe thinking to yourself, I mean, it would be silly to tell me stuff since I can't hear you, but you get the idea. You may be asking yourself, well, that's not really great, because I mean, what's the point of having an application if you can't update anything on it? That's incredibly limited. And as you may have guessed, this isn't the only way to create widgets. There's also something called a stateful widget, which does allow us to change things and add interactivity to our application.